The Silence Under Raven Gate. Narrated by Staff Sergeant Mark Reyes. Cold open. I'm recording this because I've realized something I never learned in 14 years of service. Some doors don't open into places. They open into people. If you're listening late at night with your phone screen dimmed and your house quiet, you might think this is just another soldier's story. A spooky confession with a uniform and a dramatic ending. It isn't, because I can still feel the latch in my palm. Cold metal, burning ice, and the way the silence pressed down like a hand over my mouth. My name is Staff Sergeant Mark Reyes. I'm 34. I served 2 deployments. I've run convoy security. I've watched friends bleed in sand and snow. And I've learned how to keep my face calm when my insides are not. But the thing I'm going to tell you about, it didn't try to kill me first. It tried to comfort me, and that is how it gets in. So here's the warning. If you ever see a fence where there shouldn't be one, if you ever hear a voice you miss coming from a place it cannot be, do not step closer. Do not answer. Do not just check. Because Raven Gate doesn't need your body. It needs your permission. Part 1. The Call. Fort Kessler was loud in the normal way. If you've ever been on a post in Texas, you know the soundscape. Helicopters that never fully leave your hearing. Engines that idle like hungry animals. And voices calling out names like the air itself is paperwork. It was a Tuesday. The kind of Tuesday that blurs into every other day. I was in the motor pool office finishing a safety checklist for a night exercise I wasn't even scheduled to support. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. No caller ID. I almost ignored it. Eleanor had texted me twice already. Get milk. And the cereal Sophia likes, not the off-brand. I smiled, thumb hovering over decline. Then the phone buzzed again. Like it wasn't going to let me pretend I didn't see it. I answered, a woman's voice, clipped and controlled, like she'd been trained to make emotion sound illegal. Staff Sergeant Reyes? Yes, ma'am. This is Captain Nora Vance. Range control. I sat up a little straighter. Range control didn't usually call directly unless something had gone wrong or someone had done something stupid. You're listed as training safety NCO for Bravo Company's night drill. Ma'am, Bravo's not mine. I'm Alpha. A pause. Clean. Intentional. Your name was requested. Requested by who? Another pause. Then she said, by the gate. I let out a short laugh. Automatic. Defensive. Ma'am, what gate? You'll receive coordinates. Be there by 2100. Come alone. Bring your kit. No weapons hotter than yellow status. Yellow status. Chamber clear. Magazine in. Not safe. Not loaded. Just enough to make you feel like you're doing something. Before I could argue, the line went dead. A pin dropped on my phone. Scrubland north of the ranges. Beyond posted warnings. Beyond the place anyone had any business being after dark. I stared at it for a long time, like the screen might change if I waited. It didn't. At 2040, I told Eleanor it was a last-minute tasking. She didn't like it, not the way her eyes narrowed when she knew I was leaving something out. You're off today, she said. I know. Mark, I'll be quick. She glanced up the stairs towards Sophia's room. Don't wake her. I kissed her forehead and lied the way soldiers lie all the time, with calm. I won't. Part 2. The road that isn't on any map. The service road north of the ranges looked normal at first. Dirt and gravel, scrub brush, the occasional broken sign that had survived the sun out of pure stubbornness. My headlights carved a narrow tunnel through the dark. The deeper I went, the fewer lights I saw. The last floodlight behind me blinked once, like an eye closing. I parked where the GPS pin told me to stop. There was no structure, no checkpoint, no guard shack, just darkness and the faint smell of warm dust. I stepped out. The insects stopped. Not gradually, not, it's late, so the night quiets down. It was as if someone hit mute on the world. My boots on gravel sounded too loud. The creak of my vest sounded like a scream. I adjusted my ruck and clicked on my flashlight. The beam hit chain link fencing that should not have been there. I knew these training grounds. I'd run drills out here. I could picture the terrain in daylight down to the dips and rocks. But here, in the dark, a fence line cut through the scrub like a scar. In the fence stood a gate. Old, steel, painted dead, military green, blistered as if it had been in a fire. A crooked sign hung above it. I won't repeat the words exactly because I don't want you searching for them like they're an address, but the name is already in your head if you're still listening. Raven Gate. A figure stepped from the shadow beside it. Uniform, helmet, night vision goggles flipped up. He raised a hand in the universal hold gesture. I stopped. Evening. He didn't answer. I took one step closer and my flashlight caught his face. Ash gray skin, eyes open but unfocused, like someone had left him standing there and forgotten to bring him back. He wasn't breathing. His mouth opened. A voice came out that didn't belong to him. "Reyes," it said, metal dragging over stone. "You took longer than we allowed." My throat locked. "Who are you?" The thing smiled in a way that didn't reach the eyes. "We are the reason the maps have blank spaces." The gate latch clicked by itself. The gate opened inward, into darkness that looked thicker than night should be. My instinct screamed to turn around. My brain ran through every danger briefing I'd ever sat through, but behind that gate, I felt pressure, presence, people. I stepped through. The air changed immediately. Cooler, damp. It smelled like wet pennies and something sweet that had gone wrong. My flashlight beam looked weaker, like the light was being swallowed. Behind me, the gate creaked shut, not slammed, closed like a patient hand finishing a door. Part 3. The Team and the Rule. About voices. A human voice cut through the wrongness. "Staff Sergeant Reyes." Captain Nora Vance stepped into my light, looking real in a way the gate soldier did not. 38, sandy hair in a tight bun, sharp gray eyes, face tired, like she'd been living on black coffee and bad news. 2 soldiers followed. Specialist Jonah Park, comms, anxious, chewing gum like it was keeping him alive, and a private I didn't recognize. Uniform worn wrong, like it had been soaked and dried too many times. His name tape was blank. He stared at me with pupils too wide. Vance didn't shake my hand. No niceties. "Thanks for coming." "Ma'am," I said, "what is this place?" "Classified," she answered. "Need to know." "Then why am I here?" Her eyes flicked toward the gate behind us. "You were requested." Jonah swallowed hard. "Sir, I asked to be reassigned. They told me no, like I wasn't allowed." The blank tape private didn't speak, but his jaw trembled like he was biting down on words. "What's the mission?" I asked. Vance pointed forward into the dark. "We go in, retrieve the missing, and we come out." "Missing who?" 2 weeks ago," she said. "A patrol ran night drills near Range 12. 4 soldiers crossed this line. Only 1 returned." She nodded at the blank tape private. Jonah leaned close to me and whispered, "That's PFC McCall. He came back, but he didn't come back right." Vance looked at us both. "Listen carefully," she said. "This place does something. It speaks. It uses voices you trust. It uses voices you miss." My stomach tightened. She continued, slow, precise. You do not respond to any familiar voice, no matter how convincing. You keep your eyes on your team. You do not separate. Jonah's radio crackled. Not a transmission, not a call sign. A whisper poured into the speaker like smoke. Mark? My blood went cold. That was Eleanor. I snapped the radio off, hard. Vance watched my reaction without surprise. It knows names, she said. That's step one. We moved forward. Part 4. The bunker and the lens tape. A concrete bunker rose out of the ash-packed ground, half buried. Steel door hanging open like a mouth that had forgotten to close. As we approached, Jonah lifted his night vision goggles and frowned. My left lens is fogging. He wiped it with the edge of his sleeve. The fog didn't clear. It smeared into a milky blur. Then, like the place itself didn't want him to see, there was a small, sharp tick. Jonah flinched. It cracked. He angled the goggles toward my flashlight. A hairline fracture spidered across the lens. He cursed under his breath. Ma'am, I can't see clean. Vance didn't slow down. Then fix it and move. Jonah's hands shook as he dug into his pouch. He pulled out a roll of black tape, standard issue, the kind that lives in every kit because it solves 100 problems. He slipped on his tactical gloves, thick, grippy. In the flashlight beam, I watched him press the cracked lens steady with one gloved thumb and lay a strip of tape across the fracture to keep it from spreading. The tape didn't repair the lens, it just kept it from falling apart. That detail matters, so I'm saying it clearly. Sometimes the only thing between you and panic is a cheap strip of tape holding your vision together. Jonah tested the goggles. Okay, he breathed. It's okay. McCall stopped at the bunker threshold, like he'd hit an invisible wall. His lips moved. It's hungry, he whispered. Vance's eyes narrowed. McCall, did you hear something? He shook his head violently, like he was trying to fling thoughts out of his skull. We entered. Part 5. The listening room. Inside, the air was stale and wet. My flashlight swept over old equipment. Analog radios bolted to tables, thick cables. A wall of dials coated in dust like gray snow, except the dust was disturbed. Fresh footprints, scuffs, finger streaks. Someone had been here. A single red indicator light glowed in the far corner. Jonah stepped toward it like a moth. Sir, there's power. Vance grabbed his shoulder. Don't touch anything. The red light pulsed once. Then speakers mounted in the walls crackled to life. A voice filled the room, calm and intimate, like it was sitting between us. Welcome back, it said. We kept your memories warm. The bunker door slammed shut behind us. McCall screamed, his first real sound since I'd met him. The light flickered. My flashlight beam danced. For a fraction of a second, I saw something on the ceiling. Wet, black, pressed flat like a shadow with muscle. Then it was gone. I rushed to the door and yanked, locked. Vance drew her sidearm. Reyes, she said, eyes up. Jonah stared at nothing, tears forming fast. Ma'am, I'm hearing. Don't say it, Vance snapped. Jonah's voice broke anyway. My mom. The speakers crackled, and a warm voice cooed. Jonah, baby. Are you scared? Jonah flinched so hard, his shoulders jumped. I stepped in front of him. That's not her. The voice laughed softly. You're right, it said. But we can be. My flashlight caught scratches in the concrete on the far wall. At first, I thought it was day counting. It wasn't. Names, rank, last name, unit, dozens, and at the bottom, freshly carved, the concrete dust still bright, SSG, Mark Reyes. My stomach dropped. It wrote my name. Vance's face went hard. We don't give it time, she said. We find the missing, and we leave. A hallway opened deeper, narrow, lined with pipes, leading into darker dark. McCall stumbled forward, as if pulled by scent. They're down there, he whispered. We followed. Part 6. The room with dog tags. The deeper we went, the more sound felt wrong. Our footsteps arrived a beat late, like someone was delaying reality. My breathing sounded like it belonged to someone else. Then we found the room. It looked like a barracks bay shoved underground. Bunks, lockers, a table. But everything was coated in a slick black film that glistened in our light. 4 sets of dog tags hung from the ceiling on thin black strands, swaying. No wind, Jonah whispered. Those are... Vance raised a fist. Stop. A wet sound came from behind the lockers. Something shifted. Then a soldier crawled out, or what was left of a soldier. He wore a Bravo uniform, torn and fused to skin. His eyes were gone, smooth black pits. His mouth opened too wide, and a rope of black film stretched between his jaws. He spoke without breath. Permission to return to formation, it said. Vance aimed. Identify yourself. The creature twitched like it didn't understand the concept. Then from inside its mouth, another voice layered over the first. Soft, pleading. Mark, I missed you. My father's voice. I hadn't heard it since the funeral. My knees went loose. My brain flashed images. His hands, his laugh. The smell of his aftershave when he hugged me. The creature took a step forward, joints popping wrong. Come closer, my father's voice begged. We didn't finish talking. I forced air into my lungs. That's not him, I said more to myself than anyone. The thing tilted its head. Isn't it? It asked. We have what you lost. Jonah made a sound like a sob swallowed. McCall suddenly lunged at the creature, grabbing its collar and screaming, raw, furious, like he'd been holding it in for weeks. The creature's pits turned to McCall. McCall froze. His face went slack. His mouth opened, and the voice from the gate came out of him, layered and hungry. Thank you for bringing us more. Part 7. Rules, written in bloodless fear. Vance fired. 1 shot. 2. The rounds hit McCall dead center. He didn't fall. He didn't flinch. He smiled with McCall's mouth. Jonah's radio, despite being off, screamed to life with overlapping voices. Mothers, wives, children, dead friends, people we'd buried, and people we'd left behind. It wasn't just sound, it was memory weaponized. Sophia, Daddy, you promised. Eleanor, Mark, please, come home. My own younger voice. I'll be back, I swear. I clamped my hands over my ears. The voices were inside my skull. Vance grabbed my vest and shook me hard. Reyes, eyes on me. I locked onto her face. Real face. Living eyes. Like it was a rope. The voices dulled just enough. Vance shouted over the chaos. Rule 1. Don't follow the voices. Jonah backed into a locker, shaking. Ma'am, I can't. Rule 2. Don't look into their eyes. Too late. Jonah's gaze flicked to the creature for half a second. His pupils widened. His mouth fell open. He whispered in his mother's voice, I'm sorry. Then he stepped forward, like a sleepwalker, reaching toward the hanging dog tags. I grabbed him. Jonah, look at me. He trembled, tears streaming, expression blank. Vance holstered her pistol and pulled her knife. With a single hard motion, she slashed one of the black strands, holding a set of dog tags. The tags hit the floor. The creature screamed, not pain. Rage, the air shuddered. The black film on the walls rippled like it was alive. Jonah collapsed to his knees, coughing like he'd been underwater. Vance's voice dropped, tight. Those strands are anchors, she said. It ties itself to us. Names, tags, voices. If it has your name, it can wear you. My mind flashed to the scratched wall. It already has mine, I whispered. Vance didn't blink. Then we burned the link. Behind the lockers, McCall, still smiling, jerked backward like invisible strings had hooked him. He slid into darkness, as if darkness had hands. The creature in the bay folded into the dark too, like a shadow learning how to crawl. The bunker lights died. Our flashlights became the only stars. We ran. Part 8. The crowd at the gate. We burst out of the bunker into the outside night, and the fence line was different, not chain link. A vertical wall of black, breathing material stretched between posts like wet skin. The gate still stood, and around it, motionless, were silhouettes in uniform. Dozens. Jonah whispered, "Ma'am, those are soldiers." Vance's voice was flat. "Those are skins." A figure stepped forward. It wore my uniform, my rank, my name tape. It had my face. Same scar on my eyebrow, damn tired eyes, same mouth. And it smiled wrong. "I made it back," it said in my voice. "I'm right here." My stomach flipped. The world felt thin. It took a step closer. Behind it, the uniformed silhouette swayed slightly, like wheat in wind. Except there was no wind. Then the double spoke in Eleanor's voice, perfectly soft. "Mark, stop fighting." Jonah whimpered. "Sir, what do we do?" Vance shoved something into my hand. A flare. "You're the one it wants," she said, and her control finally cracked, fear bleeding through. "So you choose what it gets." My double tilted its head. "Light the way," it whispered. I struck the flare. White fire exploded. The sudden brightness made the watching skins recoil like insects from a lamp. My double shrieked. My voice warped into something animal, and for a split second, the mask slipped. I saw what was underneath, a human-shaped bundle of moving black strands packed tight like muscle made of rope, too many joints, and a head that was mostly mouth. Inside that mouth, faces floated, like drowned photographs, some familiar, some not. The creature flinched back from the flare. Vance grabbed Jonah. "Run to the gate." We sprinted. Jonah hit the latch first. His hand froze. His eyes went wide. He whispered, "I hear her again." His mother's voice, soft. "Open it, baby. I'm cold." I slammed into Jonah and shoved him away. "No!" I grabbed the latch. The metal burned like ice. The silence shattered. Sound rushed back. Wind, insects, distant engines. Like the world remembered how to breathe. The gate jerked open not inward, but outward. Back toward Texas. Vance shoved Jonah through. Then she turned to me. "Reyes, now!" My double had my wrist. My hand, its hand, gripped, too strong. Its face inches from mine, and in Sophia's voice it said, "Daddy, don't leave me." My heart cracked. My body tried to obey before my brain could stop it. Then I did the only thing I could. I jammed the burning flare into its chest. The creature screamed. Black strands writhed away from the fire. The faces in its mouth warped like melting film. The grip loosened. I ripped free. Vance hauled me through the gate. We hit dirt on the other side, and the gate slammed shut behind us. Not by us, by something that didn't want light to follow. Part 9. What did we bring back? We lay there gasping, coated in dust and sweat. Texas night noises had returned. Crickets, a far-off helicopter, the faint hum of the base. Normal. Except it didn't feel normal. It felt like something had moved into the space behind my eyes. Vance stood first, staring at where the fence should be. There was nothing. No fence, No gate. Just open scrubland under stars. Jonah sat up shaking. Ma'am, what was that? Vance didn't answer right away. She checked her hands like she expected black film. Then she looked at me. Reyes, she said quietly. Say your daughter's name. Sophia. My voice sounded like mine. Say your wife's name. Eleanor. Jonah frowned. Why? Because it imitates, Vance cut in. Because it returns wearing your shape. My skin crawled. You think it got one of us? Vance's stare went north toward nothing. I think it tried, and I think it learned something. Jonah's broken radio, shattered in the dirt, crackled once. We all froze. A whisper seeped out anyway, like sound leaking through a crack in reality. Good job, it said. You brought the door closer. Jonah kicked the radio pieces away like they were poison. Silence. Then normal sounds again. Vance whispered more to herself than to us. It doesn't need a fence forever. Part 10. The files they don't want you to read. Vance got us back onto post without paperwork, without questions, like the army had pre-forgiven whatever happened. Before dawn, she pulled me into her office. Her desk was bare, no photos, no personal life, just a folder stamped with a black raven silhouette. She opened it and slid it toward me. Incident reports dating back decades. Soldier missing during night training. Soldier returned. Behavioral anomaly. Unauthorized transmission. Voice mimicry. Containment failure. Temporary. Fence reappears. Relocation unknown. It wasn't one event. It was a cycle. A feeding pattern. How long? I asked. Since before I was born. She said. I flipped to the last page. A single line typed at the top. Next request. SSG Mark Reyes. My blood turned to ice. Vance's voice dropped. It picks people with guilt, she said, with grief. People who have something they'd do anything to hear again. I thought of my father's voice in that underground room, the way it almost brought me to my knees. What do you want me to do? I asked. She looked tired, older than 38 for the first time. You live, she said. You don't answer unknown calls, and if you hear a familiar voice where it shouldn't be, you run. I left her office in sunrise light and told myself it was done, that I'd seen something impossible and survived it. For one day, I almost believed it. Sophia's school project was on the table, construction paper stars, glue. A little hand-drawn planet with a smiley, part 11. The silence in my house. That night, Eleanor fell asleep on the couch with the TV still on. I turned the volume down and covered her with a blanket. Then I went into the kitchen for water. Sophia's school project was on the table, construction paper stars, glue. A little hand-drawn planet with a smiley face. My chest warmed at the sight of it. Then the house went quiet. Not late at night. Quiet. Mute button quiet. I froze with a glass in my hand. From the hallway, Sophia's voice called softly, Daddy, can you come here? Every muscle in my body tensed. Sophia was asleep upstairs. I checked. I could still picture her hair fanned across her pillow. I didn't move. The voice called again, closer, like it was right behind my ear. Open the door. My stomach flipped. I turned my head slowly toward the hallway. The darkness there looked deeper than it should, like it had weight. I wanted to answer. That's the sick part. My body wanted to respond the way it always does when your kid calls you. But Vance's words cut through the panic. Don't respond to familiar voices. I whispered to myself. That's not her. The silence thickened, offended. Then the voice changed. It became Eleanor's voice. Mark, please, it said. I need you. My hand clenched around the glass until it hurt. I took one step back. The hallway dock seemed to move forward, not like a creature walking, like a shadow deciding it was allowed. I did the only thing I could think of. I turned on every light in the house. The kitchen brightened. The hallway brightened. The darkness retreated like it was embarrassed. Upstairs, Sophia stirred in her bed and mumbled something sleepy. On the couch, Eleanor shifted but didn't wake. Normal. But I knew better. Because in the bright kitchen, with my hands shaking, I realized something. Ravengate didn't stay in the scrubland. It followed me home in the only way it could. In my head, in my memories, in the space where love and grief meet. Part 12. Why I'm recording this. So I started recording. Not because I wanted attention, because I needed proof. Something outside my own mind. Because when you tell people you heard your dead father's voice coming out of a soldier-shaped thing, underground, they don't ask questions. They back away. They look at you like you're a hazard. I checked my phone. No new calls. Then at 2:17 a.m., an unknown number texted me a single message. Yellow status isn't enough. My stomach dropped. A second message followed. We can wait. We have time. I wanted to throw my phone into the sink and drown it. Instead, I screenshotted it. Then the screenshots disappeared from my gallery like they'd never existed. You ever feel that? Like reality edits itself when it doesn't like what you noticed? The next day, Vance didn't show up for formation. Her office was empty. Her desk was clean. No folder, no Raven stamp. Like she'd never been assigned here. I asked around carefully. I used the kind of casual tone soldiers use when we want information without looking like we want it. Nobody knew her, or nobody admitted to knowing her. That's when I understood the last part of Ravengate's trick. It doesn't just take people. It erases the evidence they existed. And if it can do that to an army captain, what does it do to a staff sergeant with a family and a kitchen table and a kid who still believes monsters are only in movies? Part 13. The second gate. I tried to live normally. I did the grocery run. I went to PT. I laughed at jokes I didn't hear. I kissed Eleanor goodbye like I wasn't terrified of what might speak when I was gone. For a week, nothing happened. Then one evening, driving back from the commissary, I took the service road by accident. Not the same one, not the pin location, but close enough that my skin went cold. My headlights swept over scrubland and, there, a fence that wasn't there yesterday. Chain link, catching light like spiderweb. I hit the brakes so hard, my seatbelt locked. In the beams, the gate waited. Same dead green paint, same blistered scars, and beside it stood a soldier with NVGs, flipped up, ash-gray face, dead eyes. He lifted a hand. Hold. I sat in my truck with my hands gripping the wheel until my knuckles ached. Then my phone rang. Unknown number. On the screen, the caller ID didn't say unknown. It said, Sophia Reyes. My breath stopped. My daughter's name. My daughter's number. But Sophia was at home. I knew because Eleanor had just texted me a photo of her asleep on the couch. I didn't answer. The phone kept ringing. The ash-gray soldier at the gate lowered his hand and pointed at me. Like, we're ready, are you? I put the truck in reverse. As I backed up, the fence seemed to stretch. Not physically. More like the darkness behind it leaned forward, trying to close distance. My truck hit a dip. The tires spun for half a second. In that half second, the phone stopped ringing. A voicemail notification popped up. I didn't play it. I didn't want the voice itchy inside my truck. I drove back to post so fast I didn't realize I was crying until my face was wet. Part 14. Final warning. So here's what I know. Raven Gate is not a place you find once. It's a hunger that learns your roots. It uses what you love, what you miss, what you regret. It doesn't need to chase you if it can make you walk toward it on your own. And it only has one question, asked 1,000 different ways. Will you open the door? If you ever see it, if your night goes silent like someone pressed mute on the world, don't step out of your car. If you hear a familiar voice coming from a radio that isn't on, don't listen long enough to recognize it. And if your phone ever shows a caller ID that shouldn't be possible, don't answer. Because the last time I refused to answer, the gate didn't get angry. It got patient. And patience is what predators have when they know you have to sleep eventually. I'm going to end this recording now and put it somewhere it can't be erased easily. If you're hearing it, that means I succeeded. Or it means I didn't. And the thing wearing my voice wanted you to hear this. Either way, remember the rule that kept me alive. If the voice is too perfect, it isn't the one you love. And if you ever feel that cold latch in your palm, let it go. End.